Tram Simulator! Danny, I'm a tram driver! Ding! 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 Tram Simulator! Tram Simulator! Tram Simulator! Alright, we're going to the right. And we're off. I don't know what happened. Oh, the tracks just disappears into thin air here. Hello, I'm Simulated Erk and welcome back to Tram Simulator. We are at the far end of route number 1 and there has been a update to Tram Simulator, to TramSim, and hopefully this will lead to some improvements. One improvement that I've noticed already is that the pantograph is up. Now the pantograph is the device there that the power comes down from the electrical overhead through that pantograph and then down into the tram, which enables it to power. And so in the past what's happened is that the loading screen has indicated that the pantograph is up. The display on the left hand side indicates that the pantograph is up. However, sometimes when you start the route you're not able to power. You actually have to drop the pantograph and then re-raise it. So in effect turn the tram off, turn it back on again to reset it. Now that's been one issue that's been identified. That's one issue that's been identified and that's been fixed. Now I haven't necessarily spoken about that issue and I hadn't necessarily spoken about that issue, or have I really shown it on camera. Now we're actually not due out of here for another couple of minutes. We're at Prat de Hapteri on line 1. We're minus 2 minutes, so that means that we are basically 2 minutes in credit, a minute and a half now, because I set the time a couple of minutes before we were due out. So our passenger stop has been completed. Now if we have a look on this side, you can see the lightning bolt that indicates that the pantograph is up. So our doors are closed waiting for departure. We're due out in about a minute and a half. So the fact that as soon as the scenario starts you can start the tram, that is a good fix, because as far as you can see the pantograph's up. The indication is that the pantograph is up, but you haven't been able to depart. You've had to basically go into fault finding, lower the pantograph and then raise it again, turn it off, turn it back on, and it comes good. Now that was an issue, and that issue has been fixed, and that's a good issue that I've noticed that has been fixed straight away. So we're just waiting for it to click over to 2229 in about half a minute. We have our doors closed already, and so we'll wait and we will depart. So we can depart now. So we can see on the screen the power meter. So we have a punctuality bonus that we got as well for departing on time. Now,
Wittelsbachstraße. Umsteigen zu 80a.
Now, another issue has been the awarding of TSP, tram stopping points, which in other games would be called experience or XP. Now, for other people, you get points for doing various things like running on time, doing good stops and that sort of thing. And then at the end of the route, you can see how many points you've got when you reach the end of the route or the end of your scenario. Now for me that hasn't been a thing because I haven't been able to reach the end of the scenario because of issues that I'll talk about in a minute. But other people have actually been able to finish. So I picked up 9 points there. So we're minus half a minute, so we're still on time for the moment at our second passenger stop. So we'll try and force the doors closed now. So when it clicks over, which it just has, we can move on to our next station. Now what has been happening for people who aren't me, who have been able to get through to the end of the route, is that the amount of points hasn't been recognised. Even though you've gone through and you've got points for whatever reason, this is a very
Löwengasse. Umsteigen zu 4a.
This is an early, well, this isn't an early release, but it's early in the game's development to the general public, and so they are finding some issues. So what they've done, they think they've fixed these issues. So I got nine points then. Now the reason that I think mine weren't registering was because I wasn't making it to the end of the route, because of other issues that we've had. So I'm just waiting for the time to click over, which it now has, so we can go. So what they've done, they think they fixed it, and what they've done for anyone that they've recognised who haven't received their points, they've given them 4,000 TSP, or 4,000 XP if you like. And so I've been one of those people who they've recognised who have played but haven't received any points because the system for whatever reason haven't registered the points and haven't recognised the points. Now for me that could be a slightly different issue because I haven't actually reached the final point. So I'm now in possession of 4,000 XP plus whatever I earn on this route, and then we'll see. First of all, we'll see if I can make the end of the route, because that's been another issue that I'll talk about in a second. But it's a show of faith to those people who have been playing but haven't been able to get any reward through no fault of their own. So we're right on time now, so as soon as we can get the doors closed, the better. So that's an issue that they are confident that has been fixed. Punctuality points there, good. Let's see if I can retain that. Now the main issue that I've been having is that regardless of anything that I've done,
Umsteigen zu O in Richtung Praterstern.
regardless of anything that I do, I can't make it to the end of the route without there being a game crash of some description. And it's usually after about an hour of gameplay. It's usually after an hour of gameplay, which is roughly the time that it takes me to complete the route. And so what I've been doing over the last few days is that I've been troubleshooting with the support team. I'm through the intersection now, I'm committed, so I'll just keep going. Just saw the light changes I got to it.
Hintere Zollamtstraße. Umsteigen zu O in Richtung Raxstraße.
So this is the route that we went around and around at night a few weeks ago. Well, a few days ago in reality. And we'll see that it's set for the straight route this time, which is good. We're on time, which is good. So we'll just wait for the light to change. And as soon as that light changes, the points are in the correct position. They're about to change now. And off we go. So we're going good through here rather than going around and around the block. So over the last few days, I've been sending various reports over to the support team. Andre, who I've been working with, has been fantastic and very prompt and helping me a lot with the issues that I've been having. And as I recorded the last episode, the episode before last, I think it was, we were trying to work out, because it was always an out of memory issue, we were trying to figure out when this would happen and what the game's been doing in terms of memory and CPU over the time. Now, it was fairly consistent throughout the gameplay in terms of the resources used, but for some reason around about an hour, and then it would just have enough, call it an out of memory issue, and then be done with it. So the latest development on this is that I've sent support a what's called a DX diag, which is basically something that diagnoses my system and lets support know if I would have
2A.
any issue, you know, if there's a part of my system effectively letting the team down. So I'm going to stop at this intersection before we get to the stop. Now we can go. So there may be something in there. Now I, to the layperson, couldn't see anything obvious that the computer says no, basically. But we've got about a minute here, which is good. So on the time display, anything minus something is good. If it's just plus something, that's not good. So we've got just under half a minute to go before departure. So we'll lock the doors now. And as soon as it clicks over to departure time, there's nobody around. So it's just clicked over to departure time, so we can take off. That stop signal is for the intersection, not right now. So I can advance. So I'm just waiting for the results for support to read that diagnostic report. We can go now, and Mr. Pedestrian has moved. Don't go back. He hasn't. Good. So I'm just waiting for support to read that report. It is a weekend.
Salztorbrücke. Umsteigen zu 2A. Flughafenbus. Bitte seien Sie achtsam. Andere brauchen Ihren Sitzplatz vielleicht notwendiger. Connections to airport bus.
It is a weekend as I'm recording this episode, so I'm not necessarily expecting anything back. It may take it may take a couple of days from now in real time for me to get a result back, and hopefully they'll say, oh, your system's fine. A 10, yes. Your system's fine. There's no real obvious. The only thing that I'm sort of worried about is the amount of disk space on my C drive, which may be an issue. But then again, it doesn't explain. Like, I can run. We'll lock the doors in a sec. We've still got half a minute before we're due out. There we go. So we're running to time well at this stage. We should get some punctuality points when it recognises that we've left the station. There we go. And I notice that's been better, and it's also been better that I've been running on time and taking note of the time on the display. Been having to do that at the real place of employment too, by the way. So I've been having to do that at the real place of employment as well. Keeping an eye on the time. Even though that's not my primary responsibility. Won't get as many points for that one. Just a 3. Yeah, that's sort of kind of what I'd expect. So hopefully we'll get the results back of that diagnostic report, and then we'll be able to see where we can go. My issue has been that I've been able to run things like Wreckfest and Grand Theft Auto, although to be fair I haven't run Grand Theft Auto on my current setup with my big monitor, but I have been able to run things like Wreckfest that are heavy on resources, Train Simulator as well, and I don't get these issues on Train Simulator or on Wreckfest, so that's been my argument, and we'll see what happens. This update may also help. Also on this update, there's been some tweaks to the pedestrians in terms of the pedestrian behaviour, and also I believe the vehicles as well. And so that's probably some feedback that they've been getting as well. Now, my issue in relation to out of memory errors wasn't necessarily addressed in this this update as of the weekend of the 7th and 8th of November.
Börse. Umsteigen zu D. In Richtung Nussdorf, 40A.
But we're still working on the issue with support, so we will see. We will see what happens. And something that they do in this fix that's been just released may actually help the issue that I've been having. We'll have to. We'll have to wait and see. There we go, I can see that. So we'll have to wait and see if that fix works. That fix could very well work for the issue that I've been having. And we'll have to wait and see as we approach the hour mark. Now, another thing that I was wondering, come on, let's go. There we go. Another thing that I was wondering, now you see a lot of separate lines and all of that sort of stuff. We're passing over some examples here of, you know, different junctions and all that sort of stuff, but you can only go on the one route. And I know that some people have been critical and they say, oh, it's only the one route, blah, 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 blah. It's so boring because all you do is you're driving a tram on one route. And as I've said on previous episodes, that's the life of a tram driver, or a train driver for that matter. Sometimes you are only driving on the one route. It doesn't matter how long that track is. Sometimes you only drive on the one route, and sometimes you only drive a train. You don't you know, go off and do side missions and, you know, get some bonus points. Bonus points for doing other things.
1A.
You know, you don't get to do side missions when you're driving a tram. And that's where some people have, you know, because other games, and I'm mainly looking in the direction of Train Sim World here. Like, you got all these little extra side missions that have nothing to do with driving a train. And they expect that all the time in other games, but that's just not how it works. And that, as I have mentioned in previous episodes,
Rathausplatz, Burgtheater,
there have been tram drivers, European tram drivers, who do play Tram Sim, and they're delighted with the realism and, you know, what it's like and all of that sort of stuff, how the passengers react and all of this sort of stuff. And, you know, this is what you do. You know, you're not running side missions and all of this sort of stuff. Now, I did some investigating, and while this is a long route, of Route 1, there's actually more to Route 1 than we can actually play at the moment.
Parlament. Umsteigen zu 2 in Richtung Dornbach.
There's actually more to Route 1. Now, what we're doing is the core section of Route 1. There's a couple of branches that don't necessarily have like an all-day service, that just do parts of Route 1. Now, who knows? They may be coming in the future. You can see that there's junctions here, for instance, which could well lead to the other parts of Line 1, or indeed other lines in Vienna. I have heard where there's going to be some other Can we go? Yep, we can. So there may be some other routes. Maybe some other routes in Vienna that we can drive. There may be some other routes in other cities down the track that...
Ring, Volkstheater, umsteigen zu U3, 46, 49, 48a.
You know, there may be some other parts of Route 1 that we can drive in the future. You know, the branch lines, but the main... But the main part of Route 1 is the part we're driving now. And yes, it really does take... It really does take this long to do the route. I think from memory, from the timetable that I saw last night, it's about 43 minutes end to end. And so far we're doing a fantastic job of remaining on time. It is late at night, but the traffic doesn't seem... the traffic doesn't seem actually that different to what it would be in the middle of the day. But we're doing a good job in terms of our stopping. And we are doing a good job in terms of our train platform interface, if you want to, or tram platform interface, if you want to use that term. You know, we're anticipating the lights, so the lights will change now, so I can go. And I'm really racking up the points for stopping and also for being on time.
Oper, Karlsplatz. Umsteigen zu U1, U2, U4, D2, 71, 2a, 59a.
So hopefully this light will change in a second. So the main reason that I'm sort of playing at the moment is to actually see if I can make it to the end of the route without the game crashing, and also to see if my particular issue has been fixed. Once that's been done to my satisfaction, there are some challenges that you can do in order to test your driving ability. I am noticing just the occasional bit of jitters and lag. But overall it's going okay. That the graphics are on fairly high. I've even tried turning down the graphics previously with seemingly little effect. Okay, so we're about to get the intersection cleared for us. And also having a look
Resselgasse.
having a look at the tram map for Vienna, it's quite a big system. It's quite a big system apart from this line 1. And there used to be a different tram numbering system, so I was watching on a YouTube video the other night where if the lines were going through the city, they'd be numbered one particular way. If they were going around the city, they'd be numbered a different way. And if they were going all the way through the city, they'd be listed a different way again. So it's never been a city that's really been on my radar until now, but you know, once people can get travelling again, who knows? Oh, good, we can go. I usually get held up there. So that's good to see. And it's those little things of, oh, you don't have to wait at that particular intersection, which can really help you regain minutes or stay on time, compared to, you know, you have to stop at that intersection, then you have to stop at this one because it's a stop. So now we have to stop for a little bit because it is an intersection with traffic lights and everything like that, but we didn't have to wait at the previous one, which is good. So our station work is done. Good timing there. Let's go. Okay, that wasn't the camera angle that I was looking for. Am I gonna get past that guy? Yes, I am. Just.
Paulanergasse.
There's the yellow dot. Now I do have to watch for cars here.
Meierhofgasse.
Now I believe that I've got right away in this situation. So we'll see what happens here. So we can have a look at this camera here, which will give us a great view of the outside and the situation that we're in at the moment. I love that free view camera that's not attached to the tram. That's camera 4. We lost a little bit of time there because of negotiating with the cars. So we're about a minute and a half late now. So we'll see what we can pick up in this next little bit. Hopefully we'll get a good run with the intersections. But that's what can happen when you've got... See, my punctuality's gone down to +9. So we need to stop here, which won't help our punctuality. But we went down from punctuality points of 19 being on time to 9. So it wasn't as if we were like seriously late.
Johannstraußgasse. Umsteigen zu 13a.
So if we can make this one a quick stop at Johan. And be ready to go as soon as the lights change, which we are. See, we're about to go. Now we can go. See, we got punctuality points there of 7.
Laurenzgasse.
Now we're about to go into the underground
Bitte seien
section.
Sie achtsam. Andere brauchen Ihren Sitzplatz vielleicht notwendiger.
Let's see if we can make this time up.
Kiebergasse. Umsteigen zu 18 in Richtung Schlachthausgasse.
So we're about 2.5 minutes late. We're not getting any later. But our stops are really quick. That wasn't the view that I was expecting.
Maxwellsdorfer Platz. Umsteigen zu 6 18 in Richtung Burggasse. Stadthalle 62 in Richtung Leitz. Jetzt Bahn. Lokalbahnhof Bahn. S-Bahn.
So we've made up a little bit of time. So we made up some time there, 1.5 minutes late now. And our punctuality's gone up to 12 points instead of 7 before and 19 at our best.
Knöllgasse. Umsteigen zu 6 in Richtung Geiereckstraße.
See, we were able to drive a little bit harder in that underground section. drive a bit harder in the underground section, reduce the time of our station stop. Now once we depart here, we're about a half a minute late. That will reduce our lateness and also will hopefully give us some good punctuality points, which should pop up now. And we're on a good thing. That was 15. Make a bit of time up here on this street section too, hopefully.
Davidgasse. Umsteigen zu 7a.
Normally I don't drive as hard on the street section. So we'll be able to go in a second. So we're about half a minute late. Maybe just a minute late. So 17, so we're almost back on time.
Troststraße.
So a quick stop here would be nice. Oh, and I've unlocked the flawless achievement. I don't know how I've done that, but I will take it. And we're pretty much back on time.
Wintenstraße.
That gave us a perfect stop when we used the emergency brake, really? Alright, if I've calculated this right, we've got one stop to go and we've actually made it to the end of the route. Yes, one stop to go.
Umsteigen zu 15a. 65a. Wir sind am Ziel. Auf Wiedersehen.
And here we go. And for the first time in Tram Simulator history, I've actually made it to the destination without the game having a fatal error. And we have 7 minutes to go before our departure. So we have to wait 5.5 minutes. So we will do that. I've been Simulated Erk, you've been wonderful. It has actually been good to have made it finally to the end of the route. Now we may have been slightly quicker we may have been slightly quicker than usual, and so that means we've actually made it in under the hour, which could indeed explain why it hasn't crashed yet. I will say goodnight now, and I will record another episode immediately, and we'll see how we go. We'll see if we can make it right to the other end. No, we're not going to go yet. We've still got 5 minutes before we're due back out. I've been Simulated Erk. You've been wonderful. We are going to be on our way back to Prapta Haptali on the way back on the next episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. And unfortunately, the patch didn't work. We still had our game crash. But one thing is, we managed to get from one end to the other. Let's see what happens on the next episode when we get a little bit more support from support. I'm Simulated Erk. Bye for now. Tram Simulator! Danny, I'm a tram driver! Ding! 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 Tram Simulator! Tram Simulator! Tram Simulator! Alright, we're going to the right. And we're off. I don't know what happened. Oh, the track just disappears into thin air here.